Hello, everybody. Welcome to Button Smash! Yeah! What's going on in here, out there? Everyone tuning in live on twitch.tv/WeAreRogueMatter, tuning into our VODs after the fact on YouTube at Rogue Matter. Everyone who's been listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere you listen to a podcast, while you're on your way to work, while you're socially distancing at home, whatever you're doing, listening to us out there. What's up, everybody? Tonight on Button Smash, we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat! Yeah!
That was great. None of us did that in time, by the way.
And now we're dinged. DMCA! That was too good, Casey. So tonight, guys, we're talking Mortal Kombat. We got some other topics along the way. What was that? Basically, had to state of play. IGN bundles, Mario Party. Whoa! Before we get into any of that good stuff, who do you think you are? Talking about the good stuff. We got Doc Chris.
Hey, I'm good stuff. Ooh.
Speaking of stuff that we got, Casey?
It's me, TV's Casey.
Yeah. Don't forget, we also got the guy with the beard, the one you love, and that nice sky blue hoodie. Look at him. Look at this specimen. Look at all that is man. Look at this dude. Are you kidding me? Come on. Jay's Mac.
Don't let your dreams be memes, kids.
Hey, and I'm your host, Back in the Funky Studio. What's going on, everybody? All right, so one of the most anticipated video game movies of all time just dropped. Of all time, yes. Mortal Kombat 1995 was one of the greatest video game movies, in my opinion, to ever. I remember when I was a kid and I saw it, I couldn't stop watching it once it came out on VHS. I replayed it over and over and over again. And since then, video game movies have tried to cement their place amongst the stars on the silver screen, right? So we've got all these different Hollywood wigs who are like, people would like this game, but people like this game, but what about this? That Super Mario Brothers movie.
Well, those Mario twins sure are
The
popular,
Supreme Mario
aren't they?
twins.
Those guys never existed. One of my favorite video game movies, maybe you guys want to get Silent Hill. Anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best. What do you mean?
Eh.
What are you talking
I
about?
never watched it.
Eh.
Lived in a basement for a while. She was scary.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But you can't say it's great.
Yeah, I think it's a great movie. Anyway, fast
It's
forward
appropriately
to
disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely a movie.
It's great, and I do like how, and we'll go into this a bit later. When Hollywood decides to make movies, the studio tries to compartmentalize themselves from the game or the studio or the original creators to do their own thing. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. We shall see which one this is. So. When the trailer dropped for this new Mortal Kombat 2021, there was a few reactions across the internet, but I want to know, when that trailer dropped, before we get to the movie, what were your impressions of Mortal Kombat 2021?
I mean, it was like, cool. It's a really fancy looking Mortal Kombat. Those guys fighting sure did look great.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, right? My first impression when I saw the trailer was like, another Mortal Kombat movie? Okay. Like ever since the one in 1995, the original one, like they had Annihilation and they had Mortal Kombat 2 and stuff like that. And they didn't really do as well. And I was like, okay, like they'll take another stab at it, I guess, we'll see. But then I saw the trailer, I was like, you know what? That actually looks kind of good. Like you see Sub-Zero like raining down a bunch of ice on people and stuff. I was like, oh, he's going to be kind of intense. All right. This might look a lot better with, newer updated VFX and stuff like that. So I was kind of excited, but I could have just like left it as is too and never seen it and probably been okay,
The VFX definitely are like pretty off the charts. I will say they're regardless of anything else I say about this movie. The CG is pretty friggin' awesome.
And we'll get into that. Casey, what were your first impressions?
Listen, Mortal Kombat, I feel like it keeps having these resurgences every couple of years, and it has somehow managed to stay relevant for a very, very long time. When I saw this, I was super jazzed because I was like, a Mortal Kombat movie that's actually good? Bois? Especially with how like insane and wild the lore has been, at least as of Mortal Kombat 11 and all the wacky time travel stuff they did in the game before that. I just wanted to see what they would do with it. So I was all in from day one.
Yeah, it's interesting the story of Mortal Kombat because in the 1995 version it was your typical like Mortal Kombat story as opposed to what the games are doing now with like time travel, like Avengers level stuff. I mean, like the stakes are huge. I mean, the stakes in Mortal Kombat were big, but now instead of like worlds being possibly dominated and destroyed, you've got like timelines, like whole dimensions, of existence. Like they really up the ante. But yeah, so when I first saw the trailer, I thought, I like the production value, I like what's going on here. It looks like it has a serious tone. There's some jokey stuff in there with Kano, and I thought, okay, like this studio is really going for we're gonna break the stigma of video game movies. Maybe that's not what they set out to do, but when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh man, I kind of like what's going on here. I like the tone, I like the characters, the costuming look pretty good. As far as an advertisement for a video game movie goes, your general audiences, I think, were intrigued. I mean, when I was talking to some people out in the street, people who don't even aren't even into video games, those kind of people, were like, hey, that Mortal Kombat movie looks pretty interesting. I saw the trailer pop up on my feed randomly. Like, is it going to be good? I'm like, we'll have to see. I don't know, but hey, your average Joe, your general odd was like, hey, this looks pretty cool, because they sell that as this concept that you can kind of grasp, which is the story. So the story for this movie, you have your my God. All right, so
You're already laughing about it because you know how dumb it is.
It's so stupid.
You know how stupid it is.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, Mortal Kombat in general, the story is there's a tournament that takes place. It's kind of a throwback to your old school like Bruce Lee stories, like your Fight Island. You're go through this tournament, fight, win, but if you win.
Island.
Yeah, but like Fight Island, but if you fight and win, Earth doesn't get invaded. There's another realm ruled by emperors and demons and stuff. It's crazy, and if they win 10 tournaments in a row, they get to dominate whatever realm, and Earth happens to be on the top of the table. It's the Jeff's kiss. As Kevin Smith likes to say, of all the dimensions. So we follow this guy, Cole Young. He's in our, this all takes place in our present time. We follow Cole Young, new to the series, and he gets thrown into this world of Mortal Kombat. He has a birthmark he can't really explain. But it turns out it's not really a birthmark. And before you know it, he's being told that he's chosen for a tournament that was being investigated by some U.S. Special Forces, and in which they give us an exposition dump about how, we need to win this fighting tournament. They're being going after it. It's helmed by these elder gods and this evil dark sorcerer magician who has won 9 of these things already. So the 10th one coming up. If they lose that, then Earth is doomed. So we have to assemble our own forces and fight against them. And our boy Cole Young is taking us through the world of Mortal Kombat. Now, there's a lot of... I'm gonna mix up some of the points here. There's a lot of characters involved in this story, and it might have been too much for first-time director Simon McQuaid to do. So Simon McQuaid is a director of this thing, right? He directed one thing back in 2014, somehow jumped in the TARDIS, jumped to now, and he's helming Mortal Kombat. I'm like, what? Bro, it's all about who you know, not what you know, right, Simon? Right, Simon McQuaid? But, oh, man, listen. I think as far as overall, and I want to get you guys' overall opinions before we dive into the nitty gritty. I think overall,
the nittiest of gritty.
The nittiest of gritty, boy. I think overall, I'm going to pass off to you guys after this, that this is a good proof of concept. Is a good movie. I think it's a good. I think it's a really good concept car. Is what this is. I think if this is a group project, I think this is the good draft you show to your professor or teacher before you hand in the final group project. Right? You're like, all right, we all been working on this thing. Okay, we have some effects, we got some directing, we got some editing, we got this and that. Here we go. If I was a student, if I was the head of this thing, if I was in charge of putting this thing out, I'd be like, okay, good. This is good proof of concept. Where's the actual movie? And if the group is like, no, wait, this is the movie, I'm like, all right, get out of my office.
Really, no, guys, come on.
Turn around. Get out of my office. Really, where is the movie? This is a good proof of concept because, oh, man, as much as I was entertained the first time I watched this thing, granted, the first time I watched this thing, I had a couple Guinnesses, I had a couple White Claws. I was feeling pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I was feeling pretty good.
Beforehand.
I may have loaded up beforehand. I may have had a lot of food in my belly. I was feeling pretty good. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Second time watching it, put the little critique hat on, and I was like, I've made a huge mistake in my general. But yeah, so the story and the characters of this hodgepodge, this soup, this gumbo we call Mortal Kombat. Guys, did the oral story of this Mortal Kombat, that's not Mortal Kombat, us following Cole Young, who is the vehicle into this story, right? And the other story of Sub-Zero and Scorpion have their own. Like, did this work for you guys? What was your overall take? You know, your buddy comes up to you, your neighbor comes up to you, like, hey, Mortal Kombat, what you got going on? What you think? Looks like Jay wants to take it first.
Yeah, take it.
Yeah, you know, it's two different stories, man. It's a tale of two cities kind of in this situation, right?
It was the best of times. It was the fatality of.
Yeah. First of all, no babalities in the entire movie, right? Spoiler alert. I was disappointed right off the get-go. No, the story opens up really well with the story between Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I liked that beginning. That was cool. I was confused as to why Sub-Zero may have been a bad guy. You know, Sub-Zero's famously kind of a neutral, party in this situation.
Not the first one.
Not the first one?
He's always an asshole.
Yeah, he's always
he's an asshole, but is he bad?
Yes.
Is he?
Yeah,
okay.
he is.
I mean, do you call the murder of an entire group of people bad?
Depends on what side you're on.
I didn't read the book. Sorry.
What is this, the Empire?
Okay,
the Empire brings order to the galaxy.
Materials.
Yeah, but no. So I don't know. Like I was taken back by that a little bit, and maybe I just remember it differently. Mandela effect, if you would.
Sure.
But they jump into the Cole story, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy, like, who's he going to be? Is he going to be the reincarnation of Scorpion, or is he going to, and turns out he's somebody else, and somebody that I don't think we've ever seen before. And it just kind of blew up from there, and then kind of fast forwarded almost. I was like, oh, the movie's just picking right up, which I kind of like in a way. When the movie
just
doesn't
get right to it. Don't fucking waste my time.
They're not wasting any time. They kind of just dive right into it and explain what's happening, and they do allow a little bit of time for some things to develop and build. But and they didn't hesitate at all. They didn't build any characters or anything like that. Not that we really need that. We know what the story is. You know what I mean? The video game's out. It gives a lot of lore behind the video game. But I don't know. I could have used a little bit more, I guess, especially if they're, changing some aspects of it. But yeah, like Sergio said, man, this is a hodgepodge at first, and you're like, what is actually going on in this movie? What's happening? I think I enjoyed it overall, though. I don't think I necessarily hated it, but it was just one of those, like, okay, like, this is an entertaining movie. It had some of the goofy quips in there. It had some of the finish hims and the flawless victories in there. So I was like, okay, yeah.
They said the thing.
They said the thing. Okay, I get it.
So much of that DiCaprio, like.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, before we get to Casey's overall, because I can hear him seething through his breath.
I've had a difficult time with this film.
Wait. Okay. Let me get Chris's overall. Then I'm gonna hop to Case because I can hear just the build up. Like he's channeling his freaking ki, or what do they call it here? The Aramabe, the Armani, the umami, whatever they called it in this movie. What's up, Jay?
So. They do have reptile in it. Remember, I had talked about this a couple episodes back, and I was like, dude, they better have reptile, and he better not be a fucking lizard. You know what I mean? He better be like a ninja that has a lizard face at most, right?
Not
and it was just a lizard. It was just a lizard person, He was
an enemy from Donkey Kong.
Yeah, he was.
Pretty much.
No.
Chris, so your buddy comes up to you. He's like, yo, Chris, what's going on, man? Hey, the Mortal Kombat movie. What's your overall, man?
So let me tell you how I actually watched this movie, because I got a text from one of my bandmates saying, yo, did anyone watch the Mortal Kombat movie? And I was like, I'm going to watch it in the next few days. And he's like, I need to rant about how bad this movie is. Let me tell you, as much as I like watching movies that I enjoy, sometimes I just like watching movies that are terrible. So I got really excited to watch this movie, like going in thinking this is going to be bad. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint on that level at all. It was so bad. First of all, it had the pacing of a children's movie. It was just like whipping through 8 million miles a minute. When Sonya Blade comes in less than 2 minutes into her screen time, she gives like a 5-minute nonstop exposition about everything. And they keep talking about this tournament, but then the tournament never actually really happens. They're like, we're going to get to these guys before the tournament. So the tournament never actually happens. They just like randomly fight. Also, nothing about the story, nothing that happens in this story happens besides the fact that people are fighting. Like there is no plot to this movie besides, hey, there's a big tournament that, spoiler alert, doesn't actually happen, and people just fight. Like there's no relationship between the different characters. Like even the beginning, the most interesting thing was that opening scene, Sub-Zero Scorpion fight, and the two of them fight, but that like could have not been about us. Like they could have been like, I don't know, warring factions or something.
Yeah, which is what it is.
Everything about this movie was about the fact that they just want to fight. There was no interaction between like any of the characters. And I made a joke a couple of weeks ago how I was like, wouldn't it be funny if they make Scorpion the good guy? And then they kind of just make Scorpion the good guy in this. Yeah. But he comes in at the end like a friggin' Deus Ex Machina, just like out of nowhere. Like there's no build up to it. There's no talking about like I see your ancestry. You come from a long line of warriors. It was like 12 seconds before that, and all of a sudden, bam, Scorpion shows up out of nowhere. Why? Because they needed Scorpion to have another big fight. The movie opens and closes with a Scorpion fight. I did not like this movie. The Sub-Zero VFX were fucking mind-blowing, and they were gorgeous and awesome, and all the props in the world to you. It was fun watching that, but just I had a hard time seeing what was going on. There were so many freaking quick cuts in this movie. It was like I had a hard time following one fight, because there almost never was one fight. There was like maybe like 3 scenes that were like one fight, and everything else was like there's 8 people fighting right now, and we're just gonna keep cutting between them. I did not enjoy this movie. In my opinion, it is the same thing as the 95 version, just with a fresh set of paint, and all of the 90s like stereotypes are removed from it. It's the same movie. Some of the characters are shifted around, but besides that, it's the exact same movie. End of rant.
And there's a few things I want to touch on when we go back into the nittiest of gritties, because I agree with a lot of that. I agree with a lot of that, especially that Sonya Blade exposition dub. Let's go back to that. But Casey, yo, your boy comes up like, Casey, my man, that Mortal Kombat movie, yo, what's good with that?
Yo, let me tell you something. This is the best video game movie I've ever seen, because it's straight up pure video game from beginning to end.
Have you seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World?
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is not based on a video game. It is based on a comic book that became a video game.
That is one video game ass movie. So regardless of what came first, it's the most video game movie.
Okay, if you consider Scott Pilgrim a video game movie, then I would give it to Scott Pilgrim.
I do. But anyways, go on.
In terms of a property purely based on a video game, Mortal Kombat. I'm going to get my biggest grievance out of the way first, and I feel like this has not escaped a lot of critics' notice. There's no tournament in this movie.
What?
It's weird because, Mortal Kombat's a tournament. A bunch of guys gather around from a bunch of different realms, and they fight for control of the realms in a tournament. But the plot of this movie is the agents of Shang Tsung are cheating before the tournament even begins, which, I mean, as far as bad guys go, you don't get much better than that. Like, okay, we have a tournament coming up. We've won 9 in a row, but let's just make sure we win the 10th one by cheating before it even starts.
Right.
That's a better sequel. That's a better sequel premise. The first one, you have the tournament. The second one, the guys that lost are mad and trying to cheat their way through.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that, because so much of this movie is built up where it's almost like an 80s karate movie.
Oh, for real.
You have like the obvious good guys and the obvious bad guys and your obvious turncoat. Like, there's nothing in this movie that should surprise you at all. Even Goro going out like a punk bitch. Like, I know,
dude. It's fight at all.
So ridiculous. But
in the 90s, he got punched in the balls, and that was it. And here, I mean, good lord. Anyway,
doesn't he have 4 balls? Oh no, it's arms.
Listen. Who's to say? It's
a
lot of arms. All right. This movie's got a lot of great stuff going for it. I think for a cast that's primarily consisted of, I would say, relative unknowns, except for the guy who plays Scorpion, of course. He's been in a bunch of things. He's like a fairly prolific Japanese actor.
Hiroyuki Sanada, legend.
Thank you. I know some fans might recognize him as the Japanese mafia guy who Hawkeye fought at the beginning of Avengers Endgame.
Wasn't he in Westworld season 2 as well? I think.
I believe.
Oh yeah,
so.
he's been in a lot. Last Samurai, 47 Ronin, like he's a legend.
But anyway, I like that they give the characters a surprising amount of depth in a movie that has no reason to give anybody depth and could just be about fights.
What depth?
What do you mean? What depth?
There was no depth.
They all get like little. They get like little baby.
Wait. We'll get into it. Let's hear his overall first.
Okay.
Overall, in I feel like I'm going on too long, but overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I thought the action was great. I thought their bullshit hand wavy explanation for why everybody has superpowers was great.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's like, oh, it's just magic, but sometimes it takes the form of technology, and it's like, okay, I guess. It's like, yeah, go with it. They have the mystic birthmark, a magic tattoo that can transfer between people. Like, there's so much schlock in this movie. It's like, as soon as I was done with this movie, I told my friends, not you guys, my other friends. I do have other friends outside of the show, believe it or not.
Lies.
I know. I told them it's like if somebody shot a movie in the 90s with modern day cameras.
Yes.
That's exactly what this movie is.
I have that same thought sometimes, but I'm like, what if I time traveled with real guns to the American Revolution? What kind of carnage could I create? It's just a weird thought. I'll probably get locked up one day. Keep going, Keith.
I have the same thought, but with like ancient Egypt.
Oh, even further. Okay.
Check it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this movie, Mortal Kombat, it's such a crazy bag of cats, and I wonder. I mean, we've got a couple different screenwriters here, but I believe that the lead screenwriter, this is his first big movie. It's so crazy. I don't know who's in charge of putting people in charge. But you have a director who this is his first movie since 2014. You've got a screenplay writer who there's nothing on his IMDb except for this, and you have another screenwriter who also has like mediocre movies under their belt. It's as if whoever was in charge of like, here's money for the movie, make this movie, was like, I don't care about video game movies, just make me one. Here are some people that we can get for cheap. Here's a budget of like $50 million, which showed, except for the special effects were pretty good, and have that at Haas. Because there are times in this movie where things don't make sense and the things that you like don't last for too long. And I just want to speak really quickly, professionally, about the editing in this movie, which is piss poor to terrible. It's so bad. As someone who works professionally as an editor, oh my, like, I need to find out like the names of these guys who edited this movie, and I would love to talk to them. Like, let's have like an off, camera Zoom call. Let's talk about it, guys.
Have a fist fight in a parking lot.
Yeah. I believe it's either like, it's like one or two guys, but I want to know if it's Warner Brothers Surrender Feed or something like that. Like, is there like a Snyder cut version of this movie, and they needed to like boil it down to an hour? Was there like a 2-hour, 3-hour version of this thing, and the WB was just like, hey, we need to cut this thing down. This is way too stupid. I don't get what's going on because I'm old and terrible.
Let's start a hashtag and just get really angry and force them to.
Yeah, it's so
submit.
ridiculous because I mean, just like speaking professionally, as I'm like watching this movie, it's so breakneck pace and so ridiculous. Like, there are times where in editing you have to let the scene breathe, you have to let characters do the thing, you have to let it just play out, and they would cut so many times, just like in a conversation, or just like one thing happening, right? Like there was the moment between Liu Kang and Kano. Liu Kang is flexing, he's about to fight Kano, and there's like all these like different weird cuts between their conversation and him. I'm like, what's happening here? When Shang Tsung and Raiden are talking the first time, they walk up to each other. I have to say, I do like the guy who played Shang Tsung. What's his name?
He's good, but he's not as good as the original guy.
I will say that the OG is the OG, and I do put some of the onus on the screenplay writers and the director, because some of these characters don't have good things to say, and the direction, I think, is terrible. But I liked him. I also liked how drippy he looked. He looked like an old Chinese emperor. Like, I loved how when he walked up to Raiden for the first time, he was just like, "Ooh, we are here, bro, just to take over the realm." And Raiden's just like, "No, you can't. You can't have a battle before Mortal Kombat." And Shang Tsung's just like, "Well, The elder gods are too dumb and too stupid to do anything about it. And who's going to stop me? Also, these are your fighters. I'm not impressed. You broke motherfucker. Look how he's broke.
He was talking so much shit.
Bro, he was talking so. I just love how.
Anyway.
Yeah, dude, I just love how drippy and like because he was like an all black like silk with the gold inlay. He's like, y'all broke Earth Warriors. Look at my people, we rich out here. We are draped in black and gold, and I'm not impressed, man. And all these broke boys and broke girls out here. I was like, every time he watched this scene, he had a presence. I thought, but yeah, the editing, breakneck pace. You have to let scenes breathe. You have to let characters breathe. You have to let scenes play out. There was a huge push for actors for this movie to know some form of martial art or to have some kind of like martial arts background training, right? They all talk about it. The director talks about it. The director wanted a lot of in-camera stuff. There's very few things. I'll give Simon McQuaid, the director, but one of the things is he wanted his actors to be able to get into the shit, right? And that's one thing I do like about this. But man, when you guys make so many cuts during some of the fight scenes, it's just like, what's the point? What's the point?
You miss all of it.
Yeah, you miss all of it. There's no point. I mean, there's so many times where these characters who do have a martial arts like the guy who plays Cole Young, right? Louis Tan. He's an actual martial artist. And you guys cut so many times while he's fighting. What's the point? There's the first time he goes up against Sub-Zero, Joe Taslim, which I thought was good. There's so many cuts between hits. I'm like, yo, what's the point? Simon.
Dude, that Sonya Molina fight is literally nothing but cuts.
It's nothing but, oh my God, nothing but cuts.
It was the hardest thing to watch.
It was so bad. It's just like, what's the point of your characters and your actors doing the thing if you're not going to let them do the thing? If you're not going to give us like a nice wide shot or let it breathe, if you're going to cut back and forth. Because yeah, during that fight, there was like hit, cut, and I'm like, damn, what? Where the hell? Okay, and again, first time I watched this, I was liquored up. All right, I had some beer, had some claws, and I was just like, I was just like, hit. It's cutting so much.
There was no wind up. There was literally no wind up in this movie. It was nothing but just cuts to the hits.
Yeah, it's and if you look at, I mean, Jackie Chan has a freaking YouTube video about that from the '90s about how how you do hits, how you do martial arts movie. It's so crazy. But
even like the like, as much as there's bad stuff to say about some of the like Netflix Marvel like shows, like in how rough some of that stuff looked, it at least looked like raw and real. Like those fights that they put, especially in Daredevil, like you saw the one, like a lot of that was that let that fight breathe. It was just like, one shot and you have them do a few moves and then you cut to another angle where again they get a couple moves, but it feels so much more raw than this.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Captain America: Winter Soldier. Between Steve Rogers not in his suit, just on the street, and the Winter Soldier, that is a crazy. I watch that fight every so often because that's how you do it, right? You had trainers train these two guys, all right, for months and months, and then in camera they had. Granted, there were cuts, but they had segments where they held it, where they showed Chris Evans, where they showed the Winter Soldier do their thing, right? Like he was doing his knife twirling. They had kicks, they had punches, but you saw the visceral like impact, you saw the wind up and everything. So in Mortal Kombat, there's a ton of different characters in this movie, and a lot of them did not work for me. But even though we're speaking a lot of negatives, the ones that did work for me, and I really liked Max Wong as Kung Lao. Like Kung Lao is one of my one of my favorite characters in Mortal Kombat. Like his moves looked like his moves in the game, like his kicks, his punches. Yeah, they even did his teleport once.
Teleport thing, yeah.
Awesome. Which they only did once. I was like, what the hell? I did like how they treated like the hat. It was like an old like kung fu movie. I forget where they get it from, but there was like an actual like kung fu movie where there's a hat that can like slice you up and stuff like that. And I really did like because that's where that comes from. And I really liked how they treated that. Ludi Lin,
I had no idea that was a real thing. I thought that was just made up.
No,
monk.
Yeah, like it comes from like an old school thing. It's crazy. What did you guys think of Liu Kang? Because 95 Liu Kang was the main dude. Now you have Ludi Lin coming in here
Robin
being Liu Kang.
He's the man.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was just kind of whiny in this.
Yeah, he had like no confidence.
He was just so whiny,
even though he was like able to throw fireballs for scene.
Right, he's like, I've trained my entire life here, but I guess if you guys want to come hang out, I got this cave over here.
And he's like, I'm nothing, but my cousin's the best, and like I'm really not that great, but he's got a cool hat.
Yeah, as opposed to like the 95 where he was like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fight someone. It's great.
Yeah.
I did.
Can we
My
talk
favorite
about how
character,
Raiden was like too much of a bro? Like he
bro?
was like
I mean, have you seen Christopher Lambert as Raiden?
listen.
Fairly bro-ish.
I know, but I like half expected him to like, you know, friggin' put up his lightning wall and then just be like, dude, that was weird. Like he just like didn't seem, I don't know, he didn't seem like the guy in charge. He was just like
Agreed.
the guy that put up the wall. Anyways, also wasn't a very like strong presence. Which was stupid because he was doing
he
really
didn't have a
badass
strong
stuff.
presence.
No.
I didn't feel safe with that version of Raiden. I felt safe with the other version.
Chris Lambert, yeah.
Yeah.
Papa Raiden.
Papa Raiden. I felt
Yeah,
safe
no,
with
no, no.
watching this movie.
Like, yeah, no, I agree. Like
this.
this version of Raiden. I mean, also it's just so weird. Like his character, he barely did anything. He didn't want to interfere, but also he did interfere. He can teleport people anywhere, which that's still technically not interfering, but he still could have set things up better. His character didn't have a presence. I felt more of a presence of Shang Tsung in the room than I did from Raiden. And also, just special effects wise, I know this movie has a small budget, but there are good special effects and there are bad. Why, if Raiden is a god, does he have pupils in his eye? Like, you guys should just go to the guys from like Corridor Crew, all right? I don't know how much they charge, but like Raiden's eye effects were bothering me, man. I'm like, they look so cheap.
I'll do it for $80.
King. They can do anything.
I mean, like, so some of the effects here, I mean, it looked really odd.
Well,
I mean, why does this look so cheap?
Speaking of effects, man, Kano's eye, like that's all it was, dude. Like that thing's supposed to be bionic.
They didn't
that
even
thing
give him a prosthetic. It was
That's
weird.
what I'm saying, dude. That's really weird to me. Like that's supposed to be his eye's supposed to be ripped out. He's supposed to be fitting it in with something else. They did that for Jax's arms. They could have done it for him. You know what I mean? And then they could have had the same thing where that developed into as a con, right? But it's just really weird that they did that. He was my favorite character in this entire movie, by the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think he was a perfect asshole through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you love to
He's
hate
the
him.
entire reason Johnny Cage isn't in this movie.
Yeah,
because he's too funny on his own.
True.
I
Yeah,
don't think a modern audience would be able to hand that much funny in a movie.
No, true. The director and the screenwriter Greg Russo, hey Russo, hey, they actually said that Johnny Cage. Yeah, right. Like they said that in interviews that Johnny Cage would have been too much with Kano in there. Like it would almost have been the quote unquote same character. And I was just like, all right, well then don't write Kano like that. Write Johnny Cage like that. Put Johnny Cage in the movie because he's one of the original 7.
You know what probably happened is they probably cast this actor and they're like, oh my God, he's fucking hilarious. Like we have to let this guy shine.
That's good reason.
It's like what they did to Hemsworth as Thor. Like after a while, they're just like, oh my God, we can't have him keep playing like this serious character. Like he's just too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how it seemed to me.
It's those Australians, man.
Yeah, straight. Yeah,
it really
no,
is,
that's a really good reasoning. So moving on. What did you guys think of Sub-Zero? Our main boy in this movie, pretty much.
I didn't like him. Like
really
real quick, I know. Yeah,
Talk
I didn't like him. I think he was too he was too cold. That was not.
And that's our show.
But yeah, no, I think he was just like I guess he's supposed to not have much of a personality, but
no
like,
substance.
No substance.
Oh, no.
Let's go.
Oh my God.
You're welcome, folks. These are the jokes.
My heart can't take another cold pun.
Chill out.
Oh.
Anyways, go ahead, Jay.
There's someone who's going to listen back to this and just run into traffic, just cannonball, just dive out of a plane with no parachute. Like I can't take
better
these
than
puns.
the Mr. Freeze puns though in that Batman movie.
That's true.
Anyway,
I love
However,
it.
at least Mr. Freeze had a personality and wasn't just a friggin' like just a wall of ice. That's what
He was like Sub-Zero in this one.
Force of
Basically,
nature.
he was Jason Voorhees. That's basically what
Yeah.
Sub-Zero was. In this
yeah,
movie.
he was just too quiet for me. That's all it is that he was just too quiet. And like him just walking and I don't know, man, it just bothered me. Like I feel like he needed to say more, be a little bit more like animated, if you would, you know. But he was just the ice guy, and he didn't like throw a shard of ice at anybody necessarily to freeze them like you can in the video game.
Yeah.
You know, he had to have contact with you. I didn't like that. I wanted him to freeze somebody, pick them up, and then slam them on the ground, and they shatter into a billion pieces. That didn't happen.
They did do the thing with Jax's arms.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
took
he
like
did
5
that.
minutes.
He did shoot one ice ball at Liu Kang when they first met when they were in the temple, and he did do an ice clone at the end of the movie when he fought Scorpion.
Yep, he did.
Although again the cut was very quick, and if you blink you miss it.
Yeah, you
Literally.
almost didn't notice it. Like
Yeah,
me.
you almost didn't notice it. But
There was
yeah.
so many awesome there were so many good like quick moments that were callbacks to the video game, like directly out of it. I will give it that.
All
like
the
that moment.
all the fatalities are shot out of the games.
Yeah.
That was one thing that the movie like insisted on delivering on, and I'm kind of glad that they did, because I mean that's the whole thing that really sets Mortal Kombat aside from your Street Fighters and your Tekkens and everything else, is that you have a way to brutally like finish off your foe. I mean, it made national news. It made people hate video games for a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the mainstream. What'd you guys think of Sonya Blade?
Yeah.
Wasted. Like they didn't do anything with the character besides I want to fight.
And she didn't do the handstand like leg grab thing, and like slam anybody to the ground and break their neck. I was like, where was that?
And also, did anybody else think it was kind of weird that she was the only one without a mark, and she kind of kept being shunned until the end? I'm like, this is weird. What are you guys doing here?
Until she killed Kano.
Well, they made a point to say that Kano also killed somebody who had the mark.
I mean, that was dumb.
Reptile.
But they didn't like. So the problem was they just said it, but they didn't build upon it. It was it was just like, oh, she's over here, and then all of a sudden she was like, okay, I guess I like.
Yeah, they did that for
killed
Jax.
him, so I have it now.
They did that for Jax too. Like we don't know who he killed. Like did he kill Blanca or like you know what I mean?
Blanca.
No, not Blanca. Baraka. Sorry, Jesus Christ, I'm mixing up my
hopping up franchises.
fighter games.
That's awesome. Did he kill Eddie Goro? I mean.
Vega. He killed Vega.
Like it would have been different if they spent like more time like exploring the fact that like she's there and she's been working for like towards this basically her whole life, but she can't because she doesn't have the mark. Like they didn't really dwell on it too much. They just shit on her like the whole time. It was like, cool. Why?
Yeah.
Like do something with it or don't do something with it. Like don't acknowledge it or have her fight, I don't know, one of the 80 people that show up and have her defeat them, and then she gets it before she gets in. But it was just like a waste.
Yeah, it was a whole plot point of them doing the whole mark thing, aside from like, I don't know why, copying it from Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is a terrible movie. Like I think everybody on the movie back in the day was on drugs when they made it. It was just a really odd choice. It's like, oh, we have these the marking things. I think is really dumb. That's a plot device that can just go away. These are the fighters who have to come together to defend Earth, and they're the only ones standing there. And if they don't do it, nobody else will. I think that would show them more as Earth's heroes than they were just chosen from birth, or that you kill someone and then this marking transfers to you. So wait, are the Elder Gods doing this? Is this some kind of like serendipitous thing? I think it would be better if I mean, you have like two like special forces people. You got Cole Young for whatever reason. I mean, we'll go into that in a second. And then they eventually end up in this place where it's like we are the ones who have to defend Earth because nobody else will, and like we have the ability. It's like
we are the champions.
Yeah,
Kang could have been a scout.
Keep on fighting to the end.
The movie could have been Liu Kang going around the world trying to find like champions and running into these people and doing that. Cool. And then, eventually they get to a tournament that again never happens in this movie. So
no tournament in this movie.
Yeah, it would have been amazing if kind of like like if they even started the movie off with like like Liu Kang having like a fight training sequence, kind of like Bruce Wayne in the Batman Begins movie. He's out there with Ra's al Ghul. He's training stuff like that. Except here he's training with Raiden. He finds his Arcana, which is another stupid thing. And then after that, he's sent by Raiden to go out and find these fighters. Some of them being reluctant, some of them being like, "Oh, I don't believe what's going on here." As opposed to we have Cole Young, and Cole Young is the main guy here. And no smoke on Louis Tan. I hear he's good in a bunch of other properties. I hear there's
Did
a series.
not see it here.
Yeah, I hear there's a show on Netflix he's really good on. I mean, this might come down to the bad writing in this movie and the direction, right? Because you give us a main character who is supposed to be the vehicle for the audience, right? The director again, Simon, and the studio felt like this is a lot of mumbo jumbo to get general audiences into, because when you make a movie, you got to think about the general audience, because how are they going to understand all these like different kinds of characters and people without a vehicle to put them through? Wait a minute, how do audiences grasp Guardians of the Galaxy with a freaking talking raccoon, a green princess lady,
James Gunn just did it.
like a talking tree,
and people liked it.
yeah, like, are you kidding me? I mean, people. I mean, let's not even cap. People had no idea what Guardians was. I didn't read the comics. I had no idea. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, I don't know what this is. I'm a general audience member in that aspect, and I went in just fine. People are a lot smarter than I think studios give them credit for. I don't think we needed Cole Young, and then what they give us was a very boring, very droll like character. And I feel sorry for Louis Tan. It's just like, my guy. I hear you're good at other stuff, man, but this movie does not do any further for you.
He just didn't have anything interesting to do.
Or
I thought for what it was, for what they gave him to do, he was perfectly adequate.
He literally had plot armor, like literal plot armor.
Yeah,
He literally had plot armor.
plot armor.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Love to see
dude. And that was it. And then
I
was
thought
like
it was a cool power.
It's fine. It's
It
yeah, like
charges,
whatever.
From the love of my family, I grow armor. And Tonfa is like, what?
Whatever.
Okay, whatever. And the whole like listen, we can cut
Do
out
the uppercut.
yeah, we can cut out the whole like the general audiences thing. It's just like don't do that to people. The whole family thing. Again, the CEO of Who Cares. The family dynamic that can be cut out. Movie is still the same because it starts off with amazingly with the whole like Scorpion and Sub-Zero thing, right? The Shioryu and the what's it called? The
Sub-Zero.
yeah, and the Lin Kuei. These seem like two. Okay, so I saw that James Wan, who did Fast and Furious movies, he did Aquaman. He's done some really good horror movies. I hear that he also kind of like produced some stuff for this movie too. I wonder if he did the beginning of this movie.
Oh, but I will,
because it's
100%
really good. And
He makes some fun ass movies.
yeah, I mean,
You mean the
this,
7 minutes we got for free on YouTube?
yeah, I'm like, because this seems like a totally different movie. Great direction, great blocking, great character development. I would have loved to have seen this as its own separate movie between Scorpion and Sub-Zero going into Mortal Kombat and the other stuff. Because apparently,
It's like Wolverine Origins. It's like you want the opening of that movie to be the whole movie, but it wasn't. It was over way too quick, and the rest of it sucked.
Ron Howard. It wasn't.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. But yeah, it's so crazy because I really like Scorpion as like Scorpion's my favorite character since the '90s, son. I think
Here.
yeah, I love that they retracked that, by the way. That was great. And I like the dynamic between him and Sub-Zero. It was weird that they just called their names out. Like when Shang Tsung is talking to Sub-Zero, he's just like, go, Bihan. I'm not Bihan. I am Sub-Zero. Like, what? That's what you wrote? Greg Russo,
I think if you
screenplay
were
writer,
like
and then
400
he
years
said,
old.
I am no longer Bihan. I am Sub-Zero. Greg Russo, we need to have a talk, bud. If you want to come on Butt Smash, you want to come on Rogue Wave, if you want to DM me on Twitter, bro, I need to know what happened. Did the studio be like, hey man, Greg, I see what you're writing here, but just write in that he says his stupid video game name. Same thing with Scorpion at the end. I am no longer, I am a Scorpion. I'm like,
Wouldn't it be great if the story built to that moment and it actually had meaning when he said that instead of just saying it?
that's asking
because...
too much.
Yeah.
That's asking
I think that's
much
that is the overall problem I have with this movie. It was like they did it because they did
just
it.
didn't care.
There was no payoff in any of this. It was just like, cool, they're fighting, and now he's a wall of ice.
All right, guys. So ending thoughts and your rating for this movie. Now the rating. Let's see here. Would you recommend someone go out safely during this time to go pay full price in theaters? Would you recommend them trying to get a password from someone to watch it on HBO, or would you be like, you can kind of skip this one based on your your thoughts on the movie?
I would say steal your friend's password and watch it while you're folding laundry on Sunday when it's raining.
I like it.
That's okay. That's a good time to me. Like that's not a bad thing necessarily, but don't pay to see it if you don't have to.
Chris?
Unless you really like Mortal Kombat as a video game, skip the shit. Skip it. Don't even bother. Don't even bother asking your friend for a password. I don't care if you don't have to pay for it. Don't waste your time.
Oof. Casey?
I say go for it. I mean, what else is coming out, right? That's all I'm saying.
Go for it in the theater, HBO, where you're listening to
HBO
the
Max,
parameters.
for
Okay,
sure.
okay.
I mean, I wouldn't see this in a theater. I wouldn't see anything in a theater. I live in New York. Like, we live in terrible times. I'm not about that.
Oh
so.
man! Imagine the people in Texas and Florida. Oh man! But but yeah, I would say I agree with Jay. You know, like it's like so Sunday afternoon, you're doing laundry or you're putting something in the air fryer and you've got it on in the background. You know what I mean? Just there you go. There's your Mortal Kombat. You know what? Like I agree with Barutu and chat. Watch Invincible instead. Watch something good. Watch something good. Yeah. And with that, we're going to take a very short break, and we're coming back. We're going to talk about the PlayStation State of Play and some other things when Button Smash returns.
Hi, this is Michael Dolce, host of the Rogue Wave podcast. If you like comics, movies, TV, pop culture, and want inside access to the creators behind it, then you've come to the right place. Join us every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, streaming live on Facebook.com/RogueWavePodcast and Twitch.tv/RogueWavePodcast. New episodes available on all major podcasting apps immediately following the live stream. Rogue Wave Podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it.
What's going on, guys? In here, out there. What's up, everybody? Watching live here, listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere you can listen to us. Thanks for tuning in and listening. All right. In the second part of the show here, we've got some interesting news, everybody. PlayStation had a state of play that really highlighted the next Ratchet and Clank game coming out in the PlayStation 5. And damn, does this thing look like a graphics and stress test for the PlayStation 5 system? Damn, they're like, yo, what can the PS5 do? So Sony's like, we need a game that could really make this thing sound like it's a 747 taking off. So, Chris, what did we see here?
I am so freaking excited for this game. So like, I actually didn't know the state of play was going on until all of a sudden I checked YouTube. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a state of play. And it's about Ratchet and Clank. So I caught a little bit of it. I'm going to watch the whole thing later. But this game looks so good. Like this is what next gen should be. There's so many things happening on screen. We got like more details about it, like in kind of the plot as you end up in another dimension, where everything's like slightly different. And it looks like you're not just going to play as Ratchet, but also
Clank.
Well,
No,
you play as Clank.
There's a new Lombat, and her name is Rivet.
Rivet. I was going to say it's something like mechanical sounding. Yes, Rivet. Picks up Clank and goes on. So I am kind of curious to see how that happens. But oh my god, like one thing I like about Ratchet and Clank is that the worlds are very linear. Like I like linear games. I like to be brought through a tailored experience. But the levels that you have, like from start to finish, like they're a little bit more loose than your like Crash Bandicoot, where it's very like obviously you start at the beginning and you go to the end and you like can never really go back. But there definitely is that driving force forward. However, like the world that you're walking through actually feels much more lived in than like the early PS2 games that just felt like, oh, cool, you feel like you're playing through a level. Where this feels like an actual world that you're walking through, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Like even the Ratchet and Clank remake that they did for PS4 looked great, and this just takes it to a whole other level. I am super pumped. June 11th cannot come soon enough.
It looks absolutely insane. I mean, just when they do like a pan out and you see like the city and the sky, and then the narrator for the game developers, like, yeah, this thing is gonna push your PlayStation 5, and it looks gorgeous. And one thing about Ratchet and Clank is not only do you have these like incredible weapons that are really carefully thought out and very interesting to use, but you also have like a nice little story, nothing too deep, but something to follow along with. I remember playing the revamped version for PlayStation 4, where they're like, oh, it's a story that love, but we're doing it for like the current gen, and that was really enjoyable to see this thing on the PlayStation 5. Is that
the one that's supposed to be based on the movie?
Other way around.
Yeah,
the movie's based on it.
Yeah. Well, kind of. So what it is, it's a remake of the first game. However, the gimmick of this one, it's like the visuals are much more like the updated visuals from the movie, but the gimmick of this one is that Captain Quark is narrating what happens. So like his point of view is a little bit different, which is how they explain like some of the differences between the original and this one. So it's pretty fun. The movie was kind of trash. I didn't really like it that much, which I was bummed about.
And I think the movie was like, wasn't it like also like all the cutscenes from the game or something?
Yeah, I mean, for the
that's smart though.
They added a couple more elements, but for the most part, it kind of was. And one thing I will say about like the story, so the PS3 the Ratchet and Clank future games, Tools of Destruction, Crack in Time, and there was another one I can't remember. That was like 2 other smaller games. Quest for Booty and Into the Nimbus. Those were the ones. Those actually had like pretty good stories, like especially Crack in Time. Like Crack in Time has definitely like one of the best stories. So I am excited to see like them go back to, okay, this is they can do a new story, because when they did that remake, they were retelling something they already told before, this with a little bit more detail. So I am excited for Ratchet's quest to find more Lombaxes in the universe.
Yeah, especially if you got a sexy new lady Lombax. All right, so on to the next.
Heard him.
She's already been looted. So moving on, IGN buys Humble Bundle. Holy crap! What?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
There's some hotly contested stuff if it's IGN or just the parent company. But what originally drew me to it was that they said that there was a cap on the amount of charity donation that they're able to give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily a new development or
It's a new development.
it's always been that way, but it's like 15%. That's it. Just a clean 15% of the total. And I'm like, like the real charm of Humble Bundle, other than their ability to pretty much let anybody get sponsored by them, including our very own Booster Greg at twitch.tv/Booster Greg.
Hey, the boy.
You got to plug him. The real charm of it was, other than everybody being a part of it, was it's for charity. And you could angle the way that your purchase went and how much you wanted to pay or donate, in any way, shape, or form. And I thought that was really neat. I mean, it's also a great deal on a bunch of really cool indie titles most of the time. And I think, I don't know how much like newsy traction this actually got. I only saw it from like a tweet that had maybe something like 4,000 likes or.
No, there's some good buzz about it. Twitch's main gaming channel was talking about it today, actually.
Okay, all right. So I guess my optics were just a little off, but I wasn't sure how big of a deal it was. I just know that I was like, you hate to see any time something shady comes out about anything remotely charitable. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I bet you like Microsoft probably has their own policies about stuff. I don't know why, if they're gonna buy something that's based off of charities, they wouldn't like adjust that. You're right. Like the whole idea behind Humble Bundle is that it's a charitable contribution. But yeah, I mean, I also feel like the quality of Humble Bundle, like the things that they offer as well, like there hasn't been any really good ones in a while. So I'm wondering if like that organization as a whole has kind of strayed from their initial starting charity work from there. And like some of that probably goes to like, give to the developers and publishers for like the right access to their games to put it on there. So yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It does a little bad taste in your mouth, but
yeah. But
if you're gonna buy a game and it's on there and it's gonna be charitable, do it anyways.
Yeah. But things that do leave a good taste in your mouth. There's an old game that got something that people have been asking for a long time. It looks like Mario Party now has online.
Say old game as if the game isn't 2 years old, but like
yeah, that's old.
All right,
it's 2 years.
I mean, I guess yes, technically it's an old game, but
if you had a piece of bread that was 2 years old, I mean, would you not be like, this is an old piece of bread?
Is it from McDonald's? Did it definitely not decay yet?
And also, they're adding online play to a game that came out 2 years ago. Like that's kind of unheard of. It wasn't like they released it and were like, all right, online play is coming in like a few months. It was like they released it. It was only like couch co-op, and then 2 years later they go, oh, by the way, now you can play with friends.
So weird.
So odd.
I just beat this game.
Really?
Yeah. Like I completed everything in it, and I'm like, okay, cool. I got all the characters, did all the little fun shit. I'm happy that it's going to be online. Like I'll play with some people online. That's cool.
Is it good? That's the one thing I want to know. I haven't played this version yet.
I am definitely down to get in and have a Mario Party thing going down, because it's I believe it's 4 players online.
I think so, yeah. And they have like the dance thing that you can do as well, or like the rhythm based games and stuff like that. those are pretty fun. And it's an intense workout too. You know, it's like when I first got the Wii and I was sweaty playing video games.
Mario parties have always been fun and friendship ruining games.
That's true.
True.
Speaking of games, we're going to dive into, because we're running out of time, what's everybody been playing? Chris?
I've been playing Clone Hero. I got it set up. I like recently heard that this was a thing, that like some open source company made a version of basically Guitar Hero, that you can download the different songs and the charts to play through. And it's funny because basically everything that I went and found and downloaded, like I at some point I bought on my own. Like I still have all my Guitar Hero and Rock Band and DLC. Like I've spent a couple $100 on these games, like easy. I had a lot of DLC, but I like my rhythm games, man. I just wanna go back to playing some guitar. Although I really want them to add drum support and now get the drums set up on there. Apparently there is something that it is coming, that they are going to be adding some drums there, and if that's the case, I might have to reassemble my drums that are sitting all crumpled up in my closet. But there are like people make custom tracks for this, like that are insane. Like the whole idea, like some of them are like carpal tunnel playlists that they call them, because it's just like nonstop insane things. I enjoy these. I'm like definitely like a medium player. I think my sweet spot is like the mid like 3-star level songs that are just like really fun. Some of the 4s. But yeah, I am excited to play.
Are you playing with the Guitar Hero controller?
Yeah, so it actually works with most of the Guitar Hero controllers. You have to just pair it to the computer. Unfortunately, I'm using a Rock Band 4 PS4 controller, which there actually isn't support for the tilts or the whammy bar. So I'm kind of missing some of the functionality. Yeah, so basically I can't activate the like score multiplier stuff, which is kind of a bummer. And every time I get like hold a long note, I definitely reach for the whammy bar. I'm like, why am I doing this? It's not actually doing anything.
This is awesome. I really miss like the Guitar Hero type of games, and just watching like the lanes go down in this video we have here live viewing.
It's freaking hypnotic.
Yeah, I'm like following along with my fingers. I'm like, oh man, I
am too right now.
Just like blue, red, blue, yellow.
Yeah,
this just like reminded me so much of like 2007, 2008, right? And me sitting in my friend's basement, like a little red-eyed, if you will, just playing Message in a Bottle by the Police.
Yeah,
and,
dude, that has some of like the best and most like fun riffs that make your hand just go all over the guitar. It's so good, dude. I remember like back in this, to wrap it up real quick, of like busting it out at like an actual like college party. Like people would come over, for friends would come over, and then off in the corner, like I would have it like set up, and then because it's music, like we had like a speaker system just to set it up, and some people would come in and be like, wait, what is that? What's going on over here? It's like a whole, we had the drum set, the 2 guitars, the microphone, everything. So it just turned into like the drunken karaoke and
oh yeah,
music playing. Was awesome. I
was definitely that guy that showed up with my PS3 and all the things. I was that asshole.
That's awesome.
Chris is the guy with the duffel bag that shows up.
Oh yeah,
it was always a crowd favorite. People had no idea what it was. Were like, can I play this? Like, what's going on? I thought I came in for some beer pong, but you got some guitars and a drum set. What's going on?
I worked at a Circuit City way back when. Kids ask your parents what a Circuit City is
before I got snapped.
But yeah, I remember when that first came out, man, and they set that up as like a demo, and like I would just ignore so many customers just playing that game with my shirt, with my Circuit City badge on and everything. They're like, yeah, can you help me find some DVDs or whatever, or help me put this car audio stuff? I'm like, oh,
hold on, Freebird solo coming up right now. I'll be right there.
Yeah, I'll be there in 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
anyways,
awesome.
I'm excited about it. I feel like I have bought like, again, these like songs before, so like technically I have like a license floating around for them. I don't know what like the legality of having that. Like I feel like all the stuff I've downloaded is things that I've had before, so I feel a little better about it. But like
we're cutting this part out.
I'm not involved.
Yeah.
Not involved. Anyways, but I'm surprised that it's so, like it's apparently it's a super popular thing too. So I'm surprised like I haven't heard about it before, or no one shut them down. But
Same.
Whatever. I'm enjoying them.
We'll be looking more into this. Casey, what you got going on?
I have been playing, finally, as if I couldn't sing its praises enough, having not played it, Hades
Hades.
on the Switch. It was a crowd favorite at the Game Awards. It won Dice's Game of the Year, I think, or Indie Game of the Year. One of those.
It did.
This game
It was game of the year.
Yeah,
This game is
okay.
awesome.
It is. It's phenomenal. It's an isometric roguelike dungeon crawler. It's it's made by the Bastion people, so it's quality.
Bastion.
It's fun. I've been playing it on my work commute now that I'm sorry to say, have kind of moved past Animal Crossing.
Wow.
What?
The updates to that game are insubstantial, man.
It
It's
took
not
the
keeping me up.
PlayStation 5 for... This should be like a commercial. PlayStation 5. It makes you forget about Animal Crossing.
PlayStation 5 killed it for me. Although that being said, I mean, I am playing Hades on Switch because I do need to take it on the go. Because those bus ride commutes from Jersey into the city are
Oof. Oh,
gotta
man.
keep yourself entertained. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, if you haven't gotten it already, if it hasn't already been recommended to you, by all means, you should pick it up.
Nice. Jay, what's been going on?
I haven't played a game this week, but I mean, I did open up Rust. That's like not me playing a game. That's a lifestyle, So I opened up Rust, and I'm, on my breaks and stuff like that, and quick little like hour-long sessions. I'm just base building, trying out different things, trying to figure out how to secure my shit for when I actually get loot. But again, I didn't play any games.
In the loop. Same here. All right, that's all we have for what everyone's been playing. We got some free games to let you know about. In the Epic Store, we have Idle Champions of Forgotten Realms. On PlayStation, we have Wreckfest. Drive Hard, Die Last, stupid. Battlefield V, also stupid. Stranded, the new Battlefield, it has some good updates, but oh man, with going back to World War I and World War II again, it's like, come on guys, let's come on. And Stranded Deep. All right guys, that's all the time we have for this episode of Button Smash. Thank you all for been tuning in live here on twitch.tv/RealRogueMatter, listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere you listen to a podcast when you're on your way to work, while you're socially distancing, listening on your way to the grocery store, while you're putting stuff in your air fryer. Just got an air fryer, so I keep mentioning it. While you're not watching Mortal Kombat, anything in between. Thank you guys. We will see you next time, or we will see you another time.